So sorry, but I'm not taking off my glasses.
Lockyer takes the shot. It's low. He's got it. I think he's got it.
Merlin, are you going to speak?
But for me, it was a winner. David.
Well, I'm afraid it wasn't for me, Margaret.
Thank God you're here. Grandma's been raped.
On. Welcome back to On the Air Tonight, the only free-to-air podcast in the world that reviews free-to-air content. This week, I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
And so am I.
We got 2 Vs. No more beers for these cheers here, lads.
For these geezers.
We only drink energy drink.
That's all you really need. I mean, when you've got the loudest shirts in the game on, there's really no need for any other performance enhancers apart from sugary caffeine.
Well, now that you brought up the loud shirts that we're clad, of which we are clad, Jacob, why don't you talk us through what they are and what the deal is with them?
Absolutely. So,
It's the most formal start to a podcast. By the way, I'm Tom.
Yes, he is Tom. And I am Jay.
That's Jay.
As I said before.
Oh, you did. Sorry.
Yeah, this week's episode is brought to you by our first really official sponsor of the show. A little mum and pop shop, or more just mum shop, called Boogeyman Vintage. I think it's Boogeyman Vintage on Instagram. You can go check them out. But have you ever, I don't know about you, Tom, but for me, sometimes I struggle to find a good shirt to wear to like a gig or like to a new event. If it's peacock season, I want to wear some fresh threads if I've got the money in my account.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time that happens to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wardrobe is dog shit.
Yes. Okay.
But not anymore. Thanks to Boogeyman Vintage. I haven't bought new clothes in about 3 years.
Okay.
Bar this previous weekend and bar the purchase of this shirt.
I find that difficult to believe that you haven't bought clothes in the past 3 years.
I might be exaggerating a little bit for effect. But
shouldn't have to call you out.
It feels like you shouldn't have to, nor should you do it.
I shouldn't.
Yeah. But thank you for keeping me honest.
That's okay.
Are
we fact checking our podcast now?
Let's do that for everything now because we never speak in hyperbole, clearly. Never. But when I came across Boogeyman Vintage, Jacob, I thought, wow, what a collection of loud, beautiful, vibrant shirts, curated. I'd call it a curated collection. You know. Okay, put it this way: what's the worst part of op shopping?
Sifting through 100 things that are either ill-fitting, stained, have holes in them, or someone else grabs off you. You find the perfect thing and someone else grabs it. But usually to get to that one item, you need to go through probably 50 items before you get to something that's half decent. You
need to fight through hordes of like 30, 40, 50 other hipsters in the same shop.
Correct.
They all smell. The place reeks of unshowered hipsters and also mothballs.
Yes.
Which, as a concoction...
There's a definite mothball smell.
There's a mothball smell.
To vintage shops.
Absolutely there's a mothball smell. Because what's the purpose of mothballs? They prevent moths. That's what they do.
Okay.
That's honestly what they are for. They put mothballs in the pockets of op-shop clothes to stop moths eating them.
That's new. That's new information.
Is that news to you? That's true.
Is.
That is 100% true. So... yes, they keep the moths away, but they do produce an odor. And when that odor mixes in with the odor of, marijuana pouring out of hipsters' pores, some vape juice.
Hair product.
It's one that I'd rather leave in the rearview mirror.
Absolutely.
And thanks to Boogeyman Vintage, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's a compromise that if you do want something that hasn't been eaten out by a moth, you smell like a dank old person. But not anymore. So the rundown of Boogeyman Vintage is instead of you going to a Salvos where you'll find... yeah, look, there can be some cool stuff you find at like a Salvation Army or a Lifeline bin, but majority of the time it's either fast fashion that's been thrown out. It's not very good quality. Sometimes it is, but you need to be paying a premium. Boogeyman Vintage cuts all that hard work out. the lovely creator
Well, it
Hannah.
doesn't cut it out. Someone's still doing it, but you don't have to do it.
Yeah, cuts it out for the
the consumer.
Yeah, all right.
Can we assume that's what you meant, and you didn't need to be corrected on that as well?
Yes, correct. I think the audience understood that.
Just making sure.
Yeah. So the point is that Boogeyman Vintage, by the creator Hannah, she will go out. She'll do her research on multiple different, third party markets, find really high quality, unique items. Most of them button up T-shirts, but she's expanding into windbreakers.
Oh, please do.
Sweaters. I don't know if pants are the next thing, but shirts definitely are the thing at the moment, and we're wearing them at the moment. So if you aren't
Would you like me to
watching
model
us,
for you?
if you're not watching us on YouTube, I definitely would suggest pausing the podcast and resuming with the visual stimulation so you can see these lovely threads that Tom and I are donning today. Tom's currently presenting his ass, which is not the shirt, but he looks great doing it.
I think I look really good.
He looks fantastic.
I think I look really good in the shirt. And it's all thanks to Boogeyman Vintage.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Boogeyman Vintage, for the sponsor. Go check them out. It's Boogeyman Vintage on Instagram. You will not be disappointed. They're always rotating new stock in, so get amongst it.
Now that we have the shameless plug out of the way and the reason that we're all here today, how's it been, Jacob? It's been a while.
It's been
There it is.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been
what, 3 weeks since we've been in the studs?
As far as the OTAT is concerned, it's been 2.
Well, we haven't recorded in 2 weeks, so it's been 3. It'll have been 3 since the last episode.
Right. When this goes up, yeah, will have been 3.
Correct.
2 and some change.
Let's stop arguing about the semantics of it. It's been a while. What's been happening, Tomo?
For me?
Yeah, mate.
It's fucking hard to do much at the moment with the weather the way that it is.
Yes, in Brisbane, we're going through our second flood or potential flooding in 3 months?
Yeah, we're not at flood levels yet. The flood alarms haven't been raised,
But they're getting polished.
but they're wet. They're getting polished. You mean they're getting polished to be pressed, to be raised soon?
Well, for me, I had the idea of alarm being like an old town centre where it was just a giant fucking bell.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
someone
yeah.
would just ring like, oh, the orcs are coming. Oh, it's
Yeah.
the Crusades.
Yeah, the vampires are here.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're polishing it for the next flood.
But I suppose in a more contemporary society, it wouldn't just be a giant bell to ring over the whole of Brisbane. It would be a panic button, like a nuclear launch button to say, yep.
It would be, they lift up the plastic casing and under it is a big red button and it says,
Do not push.
it says, do not push. It says, if you push this, everyone will get a text saying, evacuate Brisbane.
And they'll think it's a scam or a telemarketer.
Yeah. Everyone goes, you get this fucking text from Optus. And everyone tries to block the people trying to save their lives.
I love the idea of people, like a group of people talking like, you've been getting all these telemarketer calls and texts like, yeah, it's just a bunch of weird like characters and numbers and letters. It doesn't really make any sense. You can tell it's spam. And then one goes like, yeah, it's fucked. I keep getting texts from this guy called Landlord who says, I'm going to shut off your power and kick you out if you don't pay rent in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's like that. And then Domino's text me. It's like, obviously they're in cahoots. Fucking scammers, dude. The ATO texted me the other day and I couldn't figure out if that was a scam or if that was legitimate.
ATO doesn't text people, I don't think.
You don't think? This
When-
one seemed real.
Did it have a link at the end?
No. I don't believe so. It was telling me that my ABN is ready to be terminated.
That might be legit.
Yeah, and I think it is legit because it's a Victorian ABN from when I was a lowly door knocker.
A door-to-door battler.
Yeah, a door-to-door freelancer. So I haven't used it for a couple of years.
You could have used a loud shirt in those days, mate.
Oh, fucking hell.
You'd be rolling in it.
Oh, mate, we had loud shirts, don't worry.
Did you?
That's the whole... You know when you walk past one of those motherfuckers on the street trying to sign you up for charity? They're always dressed like an Easter egg. Like bright green shirts, bright blue shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the trademark of a door knocker.
So you're saying this shirt wouldn't have helped you at all?
Well, it's not a point of difference when it comes to... Honestly, I'd look fucking better. Of course. Okay, let me rephrase. If you're in a Boogeyman vintage shirt, everything's gonna go better for you.
And it would have given you a newfound confidence as well.
Oh, of course. If you're running a bit low, if you've been told to fuck off 19 times in a row. For context, if anyone doesn't know, your boy Tom did used to do a bit of door-to-door sales back in the day.
Down in Geelong.
Down in Geelong. And yeah, often you would get, hey, fuck you, hey, fuck you, hey, fuck you. Not that aggressively. And if you want to fact check me for hyperbole, it wasn't actually that many times in a row. But there were quite a few people who would just say, yeah, I'm not interested. Sometimes you needed to pick me up. And if a V didn't do it, I think this Boogeyman vintage shirt would have.
Would have, mate.
How do you reckon you'd go on the doors?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've done debt collecting, but that's almost like...
That's cold calling.
It's easier. Like, I feel like it's easier because I'm sitting in an air-conditioned office where I'm just... the computer's making the calls for me.
Sure.
So if I get rejected, it's like, all right, cool. I've got 15 seconds to recompose myself until the next call.
Interesting. You think that would be easier than walking door to door? Do you mean physical exhaustion?
I think physically getting a door shut on your face and someone seeing you face to face, you trying to make a human connection and then just going, fuck you. I think, because I mean, I would make 200 calls a day in the call center. You're not seeing...
I'd see maybe 60 if I'm working hard, which I did never do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I'm getting my door slammed in my face 150 times or 190 times, I need to get those 10 potential sales. I'd probably find that demoralizing.
No, but what I mean is I would knock on probably 60 doors on a busy day.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's interesting you say that because the appeal, like the way the job was sold to me when I came into it was people are always nicer to you in real life, right? It's harder. It's harder to tell someone to fuck off face to face than it is over the phone.
It's interesting. I have no problem saying no to people in real life.
Yeah, but I think maybe you would be nicer. You would say no on the phone and you'd say no in real life. But in real life, I think you'd be nicer. It's harder to look someone in the eyes, into their soul and say, hey, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what you're about.
I suppose the level of rejection, for you, it's no thanks. But when I was cold calling, it was just hang up. Like you'd very rarely get someone go. I mean, some people are just going, "Oh, you deserve to die, you loser. You should just jump off the tallest building."
You did get a bit of that?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
You were collecting debt.
I had one guy threaten to come in and shoot up the office because of the way I was talking to him. Like he called me. First thing he called me.
Oh, you got an inbound death threat.
He called into the debt collection center and he was just like, "Tell me your fucking name. Where do you live? Blah blah blah."
How did he have your number? You tried him a couple of times already, had you?
Yeah. So how the call center works, and this is going off tangent, which is what we do best.
There is no tangent today. Off tangent is the tangent.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What would happen is we would make outbound calls off the computer, and how it would show up on people's phones is an unknown mobile number. Like they probably had like 300 different mobile numbers they were using. So when you saw it, it was like, 614 number. I wonder who that could be. Someone their number I don't have.
Yeah.
And then if they miss the call and they call back on that mobile, it would get rediverted to the call center.
Sure.
So you'd pick up the phone and you go, "Hey,"
to just a random assignment of one of you reps.
Correct.
On the phone.
It was just first in best dress. Whoever picked up the phone first got the call.
Sure.
And it was like it helped you because inbound calls, it's either someone going, "I missed a call," or they're going, "Hey, I know you're trying to collect money from me. How do I get rid of these calls?"
It's usually a warmer lead. Gotcha.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's one guy, he was iced out of his mind. He's like, "How about I fucking take this to Channel 7? Blah, 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 blah." And I tell them and he's like, "I know where you fucking work, mate. You're working on Coronation Drive at this address." And
was that true?
Yeah.
Because
for some reason, our office was just public information.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dangerous. Surely you'd get some fucking smackies walking up there then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did get a few?
Yeah, we have security doors though.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
probably as much as Triple M, really. Give us me prize.
More at Triple M.
Yeah.
You get way more at Triple M.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I would have liked. I reckon I would have been all right at your debt collecting job.
You would be. You'd be okay. I think actually no, not okay. You would have been very, very good at it. Mostly because you've got the gift of the gab. And it, as long as you can just push through that level, I shouldn't really be. I'm not meant to be giving advice on debt collecting.
Please.
But at the end of the day, it's just customer service. You're just going, "Hey, dude, you've got this Origin bill you didn't pay 3 months ago. It's my duty to tell you that you need to pay it." And if they're like, "Fuck you," it's like, "All right, well, just letting you know that not me, but my company can shut off your credit so you can't go for a personal loan or apply for a new phone or get a rental property."
Yeah. Have fun with that, Chief.
It's a really fulfilling job.
Yeah.
quote unquote not threatening.
Yeah, I'm not threatening you. It's real past the buck, isn't it?
Oh, it's very much like, hey man, I just have information.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger.
And you know what? I want to share that information with you. The information is you're fucked if you don't give me your money.
Yeah. So how do you want to pay? But that being said, like, yes, it's just customer service, but you also had KPIs. Like, it's more or less a sales structure, right? You have KPIs as to, I need to collect this much debt.
Oh, it was like
Performance based.
60% of your calls should end in a conversion.
Was that realistic?
Kind of, because like at the end of the day, you could go, instead of going, hey, you've got a $3,000 Optus bill, you need to pay that right now on the spot. Like you could go that way, or you could just go, hey man, like you've got this bill, and if as soon as they admit they're liable, then you just go into like, all right, cool man, well, what can you afford? We'll put you on like $20 a month if you want.
What does that sound like, them admitting they're liable? Like, how do they do that?
So I'm like, hey, Tom, sorry, is this Tom Farrelly?
Yeah, it's Tom Farrelly.
Hey, man, it's Jacob. I'm calling from blah, 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 finance. How you going today?
Yeah, good.
Good, sweet, man. Just want to let you know this call may be monitored for compliance and training purposes. Just touching base with you about an outstanding Optus bill, mate. Have you ever been with Optus before?
I think back in the day I was,
Yeah. So I've got an internet bill here for 123 Fake Street back in 2018. Were you living at this is actually an address in Geelong. Were you living in Geelong in 2018, mate?
Yeah, I was doing a job down there, yeah.
Yeah,
knocking on doors, yeah.
So because you were with Optus and you were living in Geelong in that time, this is probably your bill.
Is that fair to say? It
is fair to say, because it's got your name. You've admitted that you live at this address and you lived in this location at this point in time. So around that time with the bill, what did you do to close it off?
Oh, I think I just moved states. I think I just fleed and didn't close it off.
Sure. Okay. So what you're saying is that you left the bill. You didn't want any part of it, but there was no actual call made to say, hey, I want to close this account. Is that correct?
I guess that slipped my mind. Yeah. Sounds right.
That's cool, man. These things happen all the time. Look, it is $2,500. I do have to ask, are you able to pay that in full today?
No, I have to set up a payment plan.
That's all good, man. Well, look, what I can do is we can set up a payment plan for you to be paying like $20 a week if you want, or I can talk to my boss about it. Sounds like you're a little bit
strapped.
Yeah, well, not even strapped, but you
were poor.
Yeah, you were kind of put through the ringer with this Optus bill. Obviously, this is the first time you're hearing about it in 4 years, so. What I can do, just so we can try and get rid of it today, I can speak to my manager about the best sort of, what we can do to sort of end it today. What is the most you could possibly pay to end the bill?
Yeah, I've got $1,000 on me today.
Okay, well, look, that is shaving off more than 50%, so I don't know if my boss would do that. Could you get to say maybe $1,500?
Sure, let's do $1,500.
All right, well, look, I'll see what my boss can do.
Yeah.
Go on hold. Guys, just made fucking $1,500 today.
And then bang the gong. Dong, 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 dong.
Hey, Tom, no worries, man. So look, we can get that one sorted out for you right now, and I can send you through a receipt to say that you're no longer in debt. How does that sound?
You know, when you just put me on hold, I could hear the whole office cheering. I think you actually didn't press the button.
That's just our hold music, man. We've got we do things a little bit weirdly around here.
It's strange because the whole music said, I, Jacob Puryear, just earned $1,500 from this dead shit cunt with an Optus bill on 123 Fake Street.
Look, I'll call
Does that play for everyone?
Look, you're getting very hostile at the moment, mate.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. So they have to admit they're liable. It's like serving a subpoena to someone and you go, hey, is this Jacob Puryear? And then when they admit their name and that it's them.
As soon as you admit you're liable, I've got you by the balls. And it's like, you can hang up. I'll call you again tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Or you can go, fuck you, I'm not doing it. It's like, all right, man. But like at the end of the day, I'm trying to help you because it's not my choice. But if you don't pay debt, you can get default listed, which affects your credit rating.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot to get someone to admit that they're liable. Like you have to, get someone like in a good mood that doesn't tell you to fuck off straight away. Like that whole path of like, you have to admit that it was Optus, that you were with, that it was your bill, you were living at that address, and that you slipped up or were in the wrong by not closing it off properly.
But as soon as you admit and say, yeah, this is me, and I get that opportunity to talk to you, and I say, Optus bill, you living here, like as soon as it has those two, as soon as I confirm those two bits, it's like, all right, so you're accepting liability for this.
Okay, so you don't have to say, yeah, I was in the wrong and didn't call them to cancel it. Like you just have to kind of admit that it was you and that it was your bill.
It's like in the debt world, it's like, well, this debt's against your name. So it's
Yeah.
guilty until proven innocent. You need to prove that you're innocent. So
Yeah.
if you didn't call the vendor to shut down the account,
Yeah.
you're liable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's it'd be a fucking tough gig. I can't. Yeah. It would be hard.
Great podcasting content though.
I love it. I think it's great. That is really interesting. I had a guy do it to me once, but it was over email. I think he might have called me, and then I was like, I'm not dealing with this guy on the phone. It's funny that you brought up Geelong because it was for a Anytime Fitness membership that I had in Geelong.
I remember you telling me about
Did I
this.
tell you about it? Yeah. And he was like, he was a debt collector, and obviously so the way it works is Anytime Fitness engages you as a debt collector. Like they sell their debt to you.
Yes,
right? As a debt collecting agency.
Yeah, so Anytime Fitness or whoever it is could have, say 1,000 different customers that all have $100 bills that they're not paying, $100,000 of debt.
Yeah.
A debt company comes along and goes, hey, no one's paid this in 3 years. We'll buy it from you for 10%.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 10 grand to give me 100 grand of debt.
Yeah.
And then we go out and collect it. And that's how collection agencies make their profit.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this guy was from a debt collecting agency who had bought the debt from Anytime Fitness. And he was like, hey, you owe this much on it. And I was like, Sam Hyde does a great bit on it.
Awesome.
Where he's just like, this is how you get out of any debt. And he's like, you just act fucking so
Stupid.
dumb. You just act stupid and you go, if you have 30K debt, some guy calls you and goes, hey, you owe us 30 grand. Well, oh, look, man, my sister's got a fucking leg broken. And you just act poor and dumb and piss them off a lot. And you just go, man, I can't fucking, I don't know. I got like $5 grand on me right now. I got like $5 grand on me right now, but another guy's chasing me for it as well. Can I give you that like now? And they're like, well, you owe us 30. And then you just fucking break them down and down and down and then offer them some shitty amount like $5 grand. And he's like, that's why I never pay anything ever because I know I'm always going to get out of it.
Yeah.
But also that ruins your credit rating.
It ruins your credit rating. And yes, you can, if you run long enough, you will outrun debt.
Yeah.
Like it's just a fact that
Yeah.
if you're smart enough, if you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
like there's things I could tell you about how to circumvent it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you play the dumb card, if you play the hardship card of like, I'm wheelchair bound, I'm homeless, like I live under a bridge, I like have to eat fucking like possum entrails off the road.
Man, I've been eating fucking possum shit all week, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it'll...
Make them real depressed.
Yeah. You can get away with it for a certain while, but it's not... You'd rather just pay your debts as well. Like Sam Hyde's bit is selling it as like, this is a great way to live. Like, look at this lifestyle. It's like, it's really not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I more or less did that with the gym guy. I was like, look, bro, I got like, I think I owed him like $300. Wasn't heaps, but I was like, I'll give you like 100 now. And he's like, yeah, it was funny negotiating because he starts out the whole interaction
With the threat
and like the cadence of, it can't be negotiated. Like, you owe us this much. And I was like, well, I know that everything is negotiable and I'm going to give you half. Like, yeah, just negotiating a price that you definitely owe. I was like, yeah, good. I saved $200.
And see, like, obviously he made the mistake of like being real rigid on his like, hey, we've established that this is your debt. You need to pay it right now. It's like, you need to be flexible in that circumstance because as dumb as it sounds, like, and again, I'm sure this is not very entertaining for our listeners. But,
This is enthralling.
But like, if you want something from someone, you've got to make them believe that you're treating them like a human being, not just a transaction. So you need to go, all right, is there any reason that you can't pay that today? And it's like, my kids need food on the table. It's like, look, completely respect that. What do you think you could afford on a week? Like we'll work around you, so you're not having to give up like your fucking $200 a week on durries or you buying your kids clothes or fuel or paying rent or whatever. Like, work around it. And I'm sure if he was a bit more flexible, if he was like, look, man, no worries. I appreciate if you can't pay it all today. Do you just want to set up a payment plan? You would have been like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty rigid operator and I could have paid it all at the time and I'm just a stubborn motherfucker.
But if he was less of a cunt, you would have been more amicable.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's all about, do they train you in that? They like, you need to be understanding to people and not accusatory.
Totally. I mean, like at the end
Empathy training.
At the end of the day, even if you're acting stupid or innocent, like if I call someone and go, "Hey man, I'm just calling you about this Optus stand," it's like, "Oh, I gotta go. I've got work." I'm like, "All right, cool. Is there a better time I can call you back?" "Oh, 7 o'clock tonight." "All right, man, cool. I'll call you at 7. Call him at 7. Doesn't pick up. All right, I'll call you again tomorrow.
Yeah.
"Hey man, you weren't around." "Oh yeah, sorry. I was having a wank."
Yeah.
Like, all right. Well, when are you not having a wank or working? When can I call you where you don't have your dick in your hand, either at work or at home?
I've got this really small window in between tossing off and working.
So post-cum clarity?
Yeah.
Are you a webcam guy? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, if you sign up to my webcam, you'll know exactly when I nut. Call me then.
All right, I just checked your OnlyFans. It says you're making about $11,000 every 2 days. So
No, I can't afford this $300 from Optus. Sorry, the feet pics are drying up.
but look, that's the world of debt. If you want to find out more, if you have any questions about it, leave us a comment on one of our YouTube videos. Follow us on Instagram. You can get in touch with us that way.
If you want to know how to collect debt, we're the guys to come to.
We might be the guys to come to. We are very happy that you are joining us again because it has been a few weeks. The first week we were off, we couldn't really record because we had a clash of schedules. Last week we couldn't record because Tom had a bit of a health scare.
Yeah, I did have a health scare. I thought I was going down with the flu, Jacob.
Yeah, you were looking like Michael Jordan in Game 5.
Yeah, flu game. And I was performing at the same level as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I made the metaphor. I can't really go back on it now.
Yeah, except for doing a podcast. I was performing right up to that level where I could operate as a human and do my job, but I just couldn't get over
Yeah, I was going to say, hang on, Michael Jordan played the flu game. You just didn't.
I just didn't play.
Hang on a minute. This metaphor is just, there's a couple of Swiss cheese holes in this one.
But I am Michael Jordan. Yeah, I did think I was coming down with the flu. I just had the sneeziest day last Tuesday in my house. Maybe documented on this podcast that I'm prone to hay fever. But this day I was just fucking like, when I start sneezing, I'm like 8 in a row. Hello? Have you heard of 8 in a row? Sneezes, that is. Not Queensland wins.
No. It's been a minute.
It's been a while. But I'm just sneeze. And then like it's ugly stuff because I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, if I was in the office right now, it'd be ugly and I'd have to go home. So I'm not sick, but I couldn't be like this in the office.
Yes.
You'd be marched out.
It'd be a big fat code 2319. We got a 2319.
We got a big fat 2319. So I was like, fuck, well, I can't, if I'm sneezing this much, I can't do a podcast. I'll be sneezing through the whole thing as well.
Sure. You're already allergic to my bullshit enough as it is. So.
Yeah. Imagine doubling up on allergies.
Yeah. You'd be sneezing all over the place.
The change of season. Jacob's changing from topic to topic, you know, that bullshit.
We'll call him Sneezy T.
Yeah. I'd be fucked. So I thought, oh, well, I can't possibly record a podcast. And then I thought I was going down. I was like, I'm down with the flu. And then I went to work the next day because I was like, fuck it. I woke up feeling okay. And I was fine at work.
You were suited and you were more than fine. You looked like you were about to go to a court date. You were dressed that well.
I was suited and booted.
You were ready, mate.
I was all geared up for the Triple M Legends lunch.
Yeah. Tom had a substitution spot on the NRL Footy Legends lunch, which, if you don't know what that is.
Wayne Bennett and a bunch of ex-footy players get together at the Regatta.
The GAT.
And they spin yarns and tell stories from the good old days.
Sounds like a dream.
It's the who's who of Queensland football. And I wasn't invited.
I mean, dress for the lunch date you want, not the lunch date you have.
But
you didn't dress for fucking me eating my egg salad sandwich. You dressed for eating crudités with Gordon Tallis.
So I'm walking around the office in a fucking suit all of a sudden because there's always someone that drops out on the day.
Sure.
Like these things that are free to the people going. There's always someone that drops out during the day, especially with COVID. It was raining hard. Someone was going to be flooded in. I'm like, it was a lounge suit attire. I've got to dress for the call-up. Never got the call-up.
Look, I mean, you were ready.
I was ready.
It's better for you to have been ready and not called than vice versa.
Exactly. If I What's worse, Jacob? If I got the call up and then I'm sitting there in the office in a fucking black Triple M polo with my dick in my hand and my pants around my ankles, that doesn't look good for anyone.
No.
And I can't go and meet Wayne like that.
You'd look like a sex offender street team member rather than someone looking to go to Legends Lunch.
Exactly. I'm not going to get into Wayne Bennett's Legends Lunch with wily old Wayne with my pants around my ankles and my dick in my hand.
Yes, metaphorically or otherwise.
Metaphorically or otherwise. So didn't get the call up. So then I just had a day in the office walking around. I mean, worst comes to worst, you dressed well for a day at work. And you're not out of place if you're in a suit at the office.
It's getting a bit of extra attention.
I'm just peacocking a little bit. And, you know, people might just assume, oh, he's got a big client meeting later on. And they'd be wrong to assume that. But it'd be, you know, not the end of the world if you wear a blazer to work.
No. Divorce hearing. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to court. But it was relatively sad because I ended up just eating sushi. I was sitting in like I'd say nice suit and a nice shirt, and I just ended up in the cafe eating Cole's sushi.
Eating Cole's sushi, having people going like questioning you on your suit, on your food. Tom got backed into the corner.
It was one of the worst lunches of my life.
Like a wounded animal. You just backed into the corner and had to defend yourself.
And it was fucked. It was one of those cases where like I sat down and the people who were already sitting there are like, "Hey, nice suit. Like, what's the deal with that?" And I'm like, "Oh, Legends Lunch, didn't get the call up." And then the other question they have is, "Oh, Cole Sushi. Do we really trust Cole Sushi?"
Yeah, and then you putting soy sauce on your sushi rolls, and people are like, you know, that's a dessert roll. You're not really meant to. That's a nari. You're meant to have that as a sweet. You're not meant to put anything salty on it. And you're just like, you're really telling me how to eat my $2 Cole sushi roll?
And that rhetoric goes around the whole table. And then those people left, and then new people came, and the exact same question started all over again.
Rinse, repeat.
Hey, nice suit. Hey, Cole Sushi. Do we really trust that? I was just like, oh my God. And you were there for all of it, just like, Jesus.
I had to leave after the third group came on. I was like, I've got better things to do, like sitting on a toilet doing nothing.
Yeah, I'd rather do anything than watch this guy get pounded into the earth.
Correct.
With questions.
So it's sad that you had that encounter, but you but look, at least you looked $1 million doing it. Going back a day, just going backwards from where you were suited and booted for the Legends Lunch, you thought you were sick.
Yeah.
Now you alluded to me before the start of the show that there was a reason why you thought, or there was a very good reason that has to do with your house as to why you were sick.
Thank you for keeping me on track. You're very Jimmy Kimmel. You're very David Letterman. You're very Conan O'Brien.
Call me Christian Petracca.
Who's that?
He's just the greatest, one of the greatest AFL players.
Nice. Talk to me about late night talk show guests, hosts, and talk to me about AFL players.
Yeah. No, go on, Tom. Tell us why you're sick.
Leno. Nice. No, it's just fucking wet in Brisbane, is all I was saying before. And my house is moldy as fuck because it's a Queenslander. And there's no insulation. It's a timber house. We've talked about this at length on the podcast before. And there's no keeping the elements out. So there's just moisture in the air. There's no love in the air. There is moisture in the air.
Mold is in the air.
Mold is in the air.
I can't wait to breathe in the spores of the mold.
And it's, I think I had a mold. I think I had a mold infestation, and in turn a mold. What do you call it? Allergy. I think I had a mold allergy.
I don't know. I think everyone's allergic to mold.
Really?
Well, I don't think any humans ever had mold and gone, this is great.
Yeah, but do most people sneeze immensely from it?
I don't know.
Like, I think I might have had an immense one.
I haven't seen a case study on sneezing due to mold.
I agree it's not good. I don't think anyone should be breathing it in long term. And everyone I talk to now is like, my house is moldy. Like, it's not just a Queenslander thing. Like, everyone in Brisbane is like, yep, that's 2 weeks of moisture in the air.
Oh, when you say it's not a Queenslander house thing. Yeah,
not a Queenslander house thing. And every house in Brisbane has a mold infestation.
Yeah, brick, fiberglass, doesn't matter what you got in your house. No one's safe from the mold.
Reach out if you don't have mold in your house right now, because I think you're an anomaly.
Speaking of mold, speaking of mold, a little bit off topic, please. But
again, nothing's off topic. Since
being off socials, I have had to find something else to fill that void of scrolling. And Reddit's a pretty good one. I mean, it's still kind of a social media, but I'm not like going through like the same stuff every day.
It's not people you know.
No, it's not people I know or celebrities. It's stuff that like, yeah, it's communities. And there was this one community I follow. It's something to do with morons being morons or something like that. And this guy took a photo of some McDonald's hotcakes, and he's like, "Oh, McDonald's! I love McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's hotcakes in ages. Don't know when they started putting blueberries in their pancakes, but I liked it." And it took a photo of the hotcakes, and sure enough, little like blueberry-sized mold blotches are all over the pancakes. It's like, oh, I've never seen McDonald's food with mold on it, except for those time lapses where they leave them in place for like 17 years.
Yeah, because the preservatives in those things, that bread must be old if it's got mold on it.
Those flapjacks have been around for a minute.
Yeah, I bet they were made. I bet that was Milton McDonald's in Brisbane, because Brisbane's moldy right now.
Well, it's not Milton McDonald's, because Milton McDonald's has been closed since the first floods.
Is that not open yet?
I mean, I drove past it today, but I didn't take notice. But I know the service station is barely operating.
Yeah, wow. Well, I bet it's a McDonald's in Brisbane. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, sure.
Because everything in Brisbane has mold on it right now.
Yes,
including our Macca's hotcakes.
including Tom's lungs and sinuses.
Yeah. Apparently, the trick to beat mold for those playing along at home, if you have mold in your house, which you do, because you're in Australia, aircon on dry.
Sure.
There's a dry mode on your aircon. Aircon on dry and fans on. Circulate that dry air. Pull the moisture out of the air. Another one that I heard, apparently at Bunnings, there are these little things you can buy called they're like moisture grabbers.
Sure, like silica gel things.
Yeah, and they just like suck the moisture in.
Another good one is, this is mold. This is exit mold. Today's episode is also
brought to you by the greatest cleaning product of all time.
Bam, man, the mold is fucking out of here.
Another hot tip for those at home, vinegar. Just white vinegar in a spray bottle and just pound that all over the wall. A lot of it as well. Because the thing is with mold, if you don't get rid of all of it and you leave a little bit left, that's like the nucleus for it to grow more.
Yes.
You have to get rid of all of it or else.
Makes sense. You got to cut the head off the snake.
Yeah. You can't leave a little bit because there's one little guy left who goes, oh, I'm still hanging in there. And then, more grows around him. And there's no point calling a company like Mold Men at the moment. There are companies that handle this kind of thing professionally, but they're backlogged, Jacob.
Yeah.
You best believe they're backlogged.
When I lived, last time I contacted my landlord about mold, I'm sure I've told this story in the pod before, but I'll tell it again. I lived in a shitty West End house and didn't have a real estate that I was dealing with. It was directly through the landlord. Old Greek guy named Jose, and Jose didn't play by the official rules, you could say. Called him multiple times to say, we've got mold in the house,
Multiple.
Yes, multiple. Nice. Roof was leaking, fucking couldn't sleep because I had moldy water dripping on my forehead. It was like one of those torture things.
Yeah,
called?
slow drip water torture. Yeah,
There's
like being waterboarded, but very slowly.
Yes.
Chinese water torture.
That's it. Yeah, Chinese water torture. And I remember Tom was like, dude, the house is fucking falling apart. What are we going to do? And he was just like,
I'll tell you what I'd like to do, huh? I'd like to take a bulldozer, bring it to this house, and I'll knock the fucker down.
And I was just like, okay, but what are we going to do in the meantime whilst I'm paying you $500 a week to live in this shithole?
What's the immediate fix?
Yeah.
I'll burn it down.
Well, how about you don't kill us?
Yeah, wait till we're out of the house.
And then, sure enough, left the house 3 weeks later. Spontaneous combustion.
There was an oven fire. It was random. Unsuspicious arson.
Yeah. Don't ignore the fact that we lived there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And anytime the hot water was turned on, that the downstairs would reek of gas.
Yeah.
Multiple people were lighting cigarettes down there. Not safe, but doesn't matter. Didn't have a problem with a fire then.
No.
Only happened when there just happened to be no people in the premises.
Yeah. And it was more cost effective to get rid of it than repair it.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure that, because you found asbestos in that place.
Yeah.
I reckon I might have some asbestos in mine as well.
I would guarantee that you have asbestos in your house.
Yeah, that little in between room with the only part of my house that isn't timber. It's that like white shitty
Next to your outdoor bathtub.
Yeah, next to the outdoor bathtub, pretty much. That is the moldiest place in the house, and those walls apparently are just packed with asbestos.
Oh yeah, that would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, and mold and asbestos cause like cognitive dysfunctions as well. They give you brain fog. They can give you sinus infections.
So what you're saying is that any faux pas that we've made on this show, anything that we've said that could be taken as offensive or just even confusing. If someone was referring to an old Renaissance Italian artist and they called him Leonardo DiCaprio
instead of Da Vinci,
we could just deduce that down to a little bit of mold in the
mold brain.
Mold brain.
I got mold brain.
Yep,
for a couple of mold brains.
I'm a mold man.
I'm a mold man.
Yes,
I bring mold to man to mold. Anything we do, it's because of the mold.
Yes, I bring mold to man and man to mold. I make young children cry and
old people sneeze.
Yes, I was trying to rhyme old with mold.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
He was a poet.
I was struggling on that one.
I thought I'd come and help you out.
We're as blunt as a bowling ball right now. We need to cut the teeth, sharpen up a little bit.
That's V power for you. Well, it's mold burn, like we said. If we're not sharp, it's because of the mold.
Yeah, let's just blame the mold for the rest of our life.
It is fucked because like you don't know, because I've had a bit of brain fog lately, and especially when you're working from home, right? And when we were stuck at home for ages, I was like, I didn't feel my most productive at times, and you put it down to it's because I haven't left the house in 3 weeks because of COVID. I miss being around people at work. I'm a bit demotivated. I'm in a bit of a rut as far as work ethic goes.
Some might say depressed.
You could say depressed as well. All the things that come from COVID, and you think back and you're like, yeah, I was definitely in a rut there. Was it the mold? Like, given that it causes brain fog, was it the mold mixed with the long COVID, which causes brain fog for like apparently a couple of months afterwards? Or was it just that I hadn't seen anyone in 3 months? It could have been the mold.
Could have been a combination of a few things.
Who knows, Jacob? I'm no doctor.
Look, no. The doctors won't tell us either.
No. You can't WebMD that shit.
No, because it's not good enough to cure you. You've just got to be treated the rest of your life.
You look fine. What are you worried about?
Come back next week.
Yeah.
But can't you fix me today? No. Come back next week.
Sarah, I've got no serotonin left in my entire body.
Yeah, no, look, I've got a hole right through me. I have right through my body. You can see right through me. And it's from mold eating out my insides to the exterior of my soul.
That's not covered on your health plan.
Listen, come back next week. We'll privately bill you this session today. Let's chalk it up to maybe $300.
Look, we'll round it up to 400, okay? A nice even number.
Are you even a qualified doctor? Well, doctor of love, maybe.
Have you heard of therapy? I'm like, you know how therapists aren't trained at all? Like there's psychologists, there's psychiatrists, and then therapists.
Yeah, counselors.
Counselors are just like, they haven't been to university or have medical training whatsoever.
I mean, to be qualified and have patients, you need to have some sort of training. So I imagine they would have done like a TAFE course. Yeah. But not like a tertiary degree.
Yeah. It's like those guys you went to uni with or high school with and they're like, oh, I'm like a sex doctor now. And it's like, oh, what are your qualifications for like giving me guidance through my sexuality and masturbating and unleashing my inner protagonist or feminist or whatever?
Being the main character in my movie.
Where are your qualifications to do so? And then they're like, I train with the best of them.
I love talking to people, but I also hate it. I get really annoyed, but also I get excited when I talk to people who like did like one subject in psych, and then they think that they're Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
That's interesting because guys who actually drink V and host a podcast actually have tiny penises. And I'm like, well, that can't be true because I don't really drink V.
Yeah. Very nice. And my dick is, well, you got the small dick part.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, in a playground, I'm average, all right?
Put me around a bunch of year 8ers and I'm on par, okay?
If I'm lucky.
But-
if it's not winter by the beach.
Yeah. And then but yes, I'm a sex offender, but my dick is mean. I have a mean dick. Mean, as in
Mean, lean. No, not lean. right amount of mass to it.
Yeah, mean as in average, not mean as in sick.
Oh, I thought you meant like mean as in.
I
got an angry little dick.
I mean median, mean, and mass.
I was gonna say a mean dick puts a whole new definition to the term microaggression.
Yeah. My dick is mean. No, I just mean average.
Sir, I'm
officer.
finding. Sir, your penis is a bit of a microaggression. Stop coming on to me.
I didn't mean it like that, sir. It's just the same as everyone else's, or the average length. Okay, I'll replace the word mean with average, and then I'm not a sex offender.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that's how I've been, Jacob. To answer your question.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that you've found your way out of the Mouldy Valley and back to crisp, clear air peaks.
And I hope all the potaters can find their way out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You may have noticed that we're just not going to watch anything this week.
Oh yeah. Heads up, we're not watching anything this week.
If we didn't say it before, it's episode 62. We just thought it's been 3 weeks since an episode's been put out, so we wanted to just get back to our roots.
Yeah.
Even though our roots was content, we're getting back to our real roots.
Our second roots.
Yep.
Well, there was roots, right?
We're branching out on our roots.
We're branching out. We're getting back to our branches.
We're leafing our old roots and branching out into new. Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard me?
Sure.
Sorry, I just soiled my pants. I'm just thinking of more. Yeah,
Nice,
there we
dude.
go. Yeah.
Well, your roots are below the ground, right? That's when we were fucking really. That's when we were in the apartment. I'd say
We were
roots.
digging our tendrils into the podcasting network.
Roots is like pre-trademark. That's our roots. That's below the surface. Oh, trademark. Couple of cameras. Oh, couple of microphones.
Did somebody say a flower?
Okay, we're above the soil now, are we?
Little berries you don't know if you can eat or not in your parents'
Ooh,
backyard.
What's this? We don't have to talk about content every week and we can just freestyle. Okay, I'm feeling some exposed air.
Yeah, I'm thinking me likey.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's second roots. So we thought we'd get back to just doing what we do best and having a chat. Hope that's okay with you guys. If it's not, well, it's our podcast and we're going to do what we want.
Look, I mean, there's really no point leaving a rating because we didn't watch anything this week, but
No, don't leave a rating. We do have some reviews from last week.
sure.
What sort of time are we sitting at right now?
We're sitting at like 55 minutes.
That
so-
flies by when you're not talking about a TV show. This feels like we sat down 5 minutes ago. I have not been here for 55 minutes.
No, but we
Wow.
have.
Well, look, let's finish the whole. We'll flip the concept on its head. We normally do reviews at the start of the show. We're doing them at the end of the show because we're getting back to our roots, which are our new roots.
Let's do it.
Lance Farrelly reviews episode 61 and he says, excellent episode 61 by the lads discussing Instagram, cats in the cradle, and young Jacob giving up on social media. They continue to impress week after week. I'm going to forgive Jacob for butchering a Kiwi accent when he reads the PAP reviews. Pleasant to see he doesn't miss social media. There's hope yet in the world. I stopped halfway through the pod to listen to Cats in the Cradle. Brought back some strong memories. Funny how music does that.
I love that I can remember you going on like a 15-minute tangent about Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah.
And another song. And of course your dad's like, pauses the podcast like, yeah, fuck it, let's listen to it.
Yeah, I saw him that afternoon. He's like, yeah, I got up to the Cats in the Cradle part. Haven't listened to any more because I stopped the podcast to listen to Cats in the Cradle on repeat.
Like, well, Cats in the Cradle, artist related. Bob Dylan.
Oh my God.
Looks like it's Christmas for old Lance.
Haven't even brought up Nick Curios yet. There's hope yet in the...
No, please.
No, there's still time. That's what I'm saying. He may well be in here. Funny how music does that. The Compass episode the boys reviewed on Instagram has sounded truly awful. Still, I'm the exact opposite of a social media expert. Excuse me, potaters.
Bless.
There's hope what's happening to Facebook will eventually happen to Instagram. It will slowly degenerate into only old women left using it. Funny Geraldine Doog. Remember her?
Geraldine Doog.
Yeah, she was the woman who hosted Compass.
Yes, I do remember.
The journalist, the female journalist. Geraldine Doog is still going as a host for the ABC. She's been around for so long. Thought she was dead. Haha.
Awesome.
Perhaps something pleasant like that could happen to passenger 57. And he could just go away and maybe die.
Who was passenger 57?
Nick Kyrgios.
Yep, that's right. I was like, why are we making yes, I'm forgetting the references to my own show.
Remember Spud Folklore?
Yes, I do.
There's plenty of canon there to be unpacked.
Yeah, it's been a minute, so.
Yeah. Anyway, another 10 out of 10 butchered Kiwi accents out of 10. Oh, fuck, that's a lot of 10s.
I thought I fucking nailed it, mate. I bloody nailed it.
Keep this excellent series continuing. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Tom's dad.
Thanks, my dad. I'm glad we could bring back some huge memories of Cats in the Cradle for you. I do remember listening to it as you do. That review brings back memories of the last episode we did, which feels like as many years ago that Cats in the Cradle probably feels like to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And it's sweet that, you're like, we've discussed this plenty of times off air, but it is very sweet that your dad is just number one fan.
Number one fan.
Like anything that you say is like, oh yeah, I'll go check that out.
Yeah. Well, we have similar interests, don't we? I'd say that he's almost curated a podcast himself by imposing his existing interests onto his son.
Is this even ours anymore?
I think Dad's pulling the strings.
It's Lance's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah, it's Lance's party. We're just delivering it.
And we're live, laugh, loving it.
So thank you, Dad. We do have one more review this week, and it comes from the other number one fan of the podcast, not the number two fan.
The big
TAC.
The big dog, the sexy Californian surf dad, cool guy. Christian Reese, the animal chin. He writes in, boys, fun episode in reference to episode 61. I loved hearing about Tom's escapades in Cairns. That spot is definitely on the list. Additionally, I too live in a felted wide brim influencer enclave. This guy just waxes poetic.
That's hot.
I too live in a felted wide brim influencer enclave.
Can I ask what an enclave is?
I'm guessing like a posse or a community or like a caravan.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I have two friends who are married to mum influencers, which is a particular brand of yuck.
Yes, it is.
My friends, however, seem to have some cognitive dissonance over the whoring out of their children as their wives are drawing large paychecks, and they have a steady stream of cool/free shit arriving at the house, and therefore don't know if they like it or tolerate it. Interesting. I mean, same for me. If I had some too hot to trot mum putting our bubs out there, and we're getting free V's.
Every man's got their moral price, don't they?
They do.
I'll whore out my kids if it means a couple of cases of Mother energy drink every week.
The second best energy drink on the market. Additionally, like old Jakey boy, I have been off social media for 2.5 years.
Oh wow, good on him.
Interesting. I never had a Facebook, but the combination of big data concerns and the cacophony of dumb ideas and opinions from dumb people during the pandemic made my exit a simple choice. I did not miss it one bit and replaced my scroll time with reading. Like Jake, I have had some benefits from my exit, but just tell people I just didn't like it and leave it at all that. I'm planning to watch and see if I can't explore some of the other topics on this show, as it seems pretty interesting. I give this episode 10 out of 10 curated feeds and captions pulled from Bob Dylan songs. Would recommend TAC. Kind regards, Christian Reese, JD Esquire. Sent from my iPhone. Please excuse any typos.
Thank you for the full transcript.
You're welcome.
Does it surprise you at all that TAC isn't on social media?
I mean, it does, because I might have done a bit of stalking and I thought he was on there. But
yeah, we thought we found you at one point, TAC. Maybe it was a really inactive account.
Maybe
just years ago.
Look, either way, it just adds to the mythos that is super cool chill guy listens to super cool chill podcast
and reads. He just replaced that time with reading.
The fact that he found us without social media.
Yeah. Because I've always thought, like, God, it'd be nice to have TAC in the DMs on Instagram. You know, he writes in every single week with a review, which is above and beyond what I could expect from him. But also, I'd like a double tap every now and then from the man. You know, he doesn't fire react to any of our stories.
But we're not gonna place out. We're not gonna pretend that that someone leaving a like on us is just validating our existence.
No. Well, that's why you got off social media, so you could get away from that validation.
Exactly. So a double
the
tap,
reasons.
it's nice, but doesn't mean. Even though I'm just like, yeah, come like our bloody podcast Instagram.
Please come back.
Come on.
No, none of that surprised me. TAC, you continue to be the chillest man on planet Earth. You know how we were speaking on, just before we wrap the show up,
Sure.
this red hot episode that is episode 62 of Spuds, of OTAT. Apologies. We were talking about moral codes
And ethics.
and ethics. I had a moral conundrum that I found myself in this week,
Okay.
just quickly.
Sure.
And I
I was
want
gonna say, is it a long conundrum? Because we're over time already. But please share with us, Tom.
There's no overtime. We didn't watch anything this week. It's still early.
What was your ethical quandary, Thomas?
Well, I was at Subway earlier, Jacob, and
the food store, not the underground train.
the food store. We're in Brisbane, so we don't have one of those.
Well, yeah.
Oh, is there one down there? I just haven't been told. Holy shit!
We got more than the Gold Coast. I'll tell you that much, mate.
Why am I driving? We've got the U-Rail under us. Why am I driving to the podcast studios? I was in Subway and I wanted a bottle of water with my sandwich.
Sure.
And the reason I go to Subway is because it's dirt cheap.
Okay.
Because I get an avo and salad sub and it's $9. And I don't want to spend more than that at Subway.
Yep.
Because when I eat out, I'm trying to save some cash right now.
Yep. So the idea of spending an extra $3 on a bottle of water gave you conniptions.
Yeah, pained me.
Yep.
I think it's an extra $2.50 with a sub.
Okay.
But I didn't have my bottle of water with me, and I was just like, I may as well be getting a Porto now. You know, I'm spending $14, 13. So I got the bottle of water out. You'll know at Subway, you get the go to the drinks fridge before you order, depending on the layout of your Subway. But at some of them, you get your drink and then you line up. And I thought the whole time, I'm begrudgingly holding the bottle of water. And then as I get to the till after my sub has been completed by the sandwich artist, the bottle's there. And I'm like, I'm not going to push this towards her or tell her, and just the bottle of water. I'm not going to express that I've got it. And if she misses it, that's on her.
Sure.
If she assumes that I walked in with this Mount Franklin, then that's on her.
This completely full, slowly starting to have condensation on the
Perspire.
outside.
Yeah.
Still with the plastic cap sealed. Yeah, I guess you just brought that in with you, Tom.
I was at the Coles up the road before I came in
from
here.
4Ks away where it's
Strolled in here and it's still ice cold visibly.
And I was just opening the fridge door before just to make sure it works.
Yeah, I just thought, those Mount Franklins are like my Mount Franklin from the Coles up the road.
I think I know where this is going, but what's your moral question, Tom?
Well, what ended up happening was it was a really busy place. It was a really busy Subway. It was at peak hour. And she didn't notice a bottle of water, probably because of the franticness of the store itself. And she just went, that's $9 for the sub. And I went, okay, thank you. And I didn't tell her. And I walked out only paying for my sub, but not paying for the bottle of water.
Was it a foot long?
Yeah.
Okay.
$8.50 to $9 for an avo salad sub.
Avo and salad, that's...
Is that cheap or a lot?
That's a lot, I think, but at the same time, like I usually would get protein on mine.
Yeah, well, you compare that $8.50 to $9 to, say, a $13 chicken teriyaki or whatever that costs.
Yeah, okay, good point. Good point.
Is that stealing?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's stealing.
Okay.
A follow-on question.
Yeah.
Is it your responsibility if the cashier doesn't notice for you to make her aware?
Therein lies the question, right?
The Good Samaritan would. I'm not saying that you should, because it's at the end of the day, I think there's a responsibility on both parts. One from the cashier to recognize what the patron is buying, but also responsibility on the patron to make them aware, I'm getting X amount of value from this transaction, so I'm going to pay X amount of dollars for this transaction.
Yeah, I think there's due diligence on both parts.
Yes.
That we both should have taken.
Should have.
And we didn't.
But also, am I going to sit here and in my ivory tower and go and judge you because you took a $2.50 bottle of water from Subway when they probably pull in billions of dollars of revenue?
That's the thing, right? There's theft, but theft has shades of theft. There's petty theft, there's major theft, and there's grand theft auto. and then there's petty theft.
Yeah, I mean, you can twist your words however you want, Tom. You stole.
It's still stealing,
Yeah,
but
still
what I'm
stole.
saying is there are different charges for different levels of theft.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be prosecuted for that as much as you would say holding up a bank
No.
or like mugging an old woman.
But I would suppose that the equivalent is, like, morally speaking, the moral equivalent of it would be walking into a car yard and getting in a car and their car salesman is on their first day and they don't realize you haven't paid for the car and you just drive it home and go, well, you didn't tell me that I had to pay for it, knowing full well that you should have paid for it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think
It's still bad.
there's probably a better metaphor out there than a car yard, because I feel like even if you're the worst salesman or the newest salesman on the planet, you kind of know that if you're going to have someone test drive a car, you make them pay for it before they walk out.
Maybe it's a really simple, maybe it's a really young car salesman and they're hungover and they just don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Or maybe it's a JB Hi-Fi.
Let me make it really simple for you. You should have paid for the water.
Okay.
Am I going to judge you because you didn't? No, because I've done things similar.
Okay.
Am I going to allude to what they are on the podcast? No, because I'm not going to incriminate myself like an idiot.
You've done way worse. And so has everyone at home. We've all done worse than stealing a bottle of water.
Don't drag the good name of the spuds through the mud, mate.
The Spuds through the mud. I would never drag mud onto the Spuds name.
Well, it sounds like what was? Let me rewind.
Flip the tape back.
Yeah, the people listening have done things worse.
Look, I'm going to stand in front of it like a train and
Okay.
I'll let it hit me.
Yeah.
I did wrong. I did wrong. Do I feel guilty about it? I don't think I do. Because it's Subway, and you're right. They dragged in $1,000 just in the time that I was in the room. So $2.50 means less to them than it does to me.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at the end of the day, Tom, in a religious, if I was in a religious mindset, you've presented to your place of worship, the podcast studio. You have confessed your sins
To the great podcast gods.
You've expressed remorse, and now you need to do the equivalent of Hail Marys, which is probably us having a suck on a vape and drinking a beer.
Yeah.
And then you can sleep like a baby tonight.
Yeah, okay. I don't feel guilty. I'll throw some holy water or V or beer over my left shoulder.
Some atheist water.
Some atheist water.
Beer.
The power of Christ compels me for stealing that. Or just Subway Mountain Franklin water as well. That could work. But you guys let us know at home, am I going to hell?
Yes, let us know if Tom is going to hell or not.
Is stealing Subway water one of the 7 deadly sins?
If you have hung around for this long into episode 62 of On the Air Tonight, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us on the air tonight.
Get it? OTAT.
As always, he is...
I've been Tom.
And I've been Jake. Remember to go check out Boogeyman Vintage on Instagram. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.